Styleboy and welcome to my world, and in today's video we are doing the most important thing of life. Ranking all of Ariana Grande's albums. So, if you did not know, I'm a huge Ariana Grande fan. I brought merch from her. I have every single CD she's owned, and I've been to her concert with my friend Nia. Nia, if you're watching this, hey girl. And honestly, like, I stan her. I saw a YouTuber do this, Amanda BB. Credit to her, because we stan her in this household, and she basically ranked all of Ariana Grande's albums. And if you are also part of the Arianator community, everyone's trying to fight to get that album on top. So, I thought I would do my own opinion and just share my favorites. Disclaimers. Firstly, this is all my opinion. I don't mind if you disagree with me. Actually, if you do disagree with me, comment down below your ratings. Like, I'm so intrigued. Honestly, I love hearing other people's opinions. It just gets me all excited. But please do not try and attack it. Please just be kind. And secondly, none of these albums are actually bad. Like, I'm saying these are like my least favorite or my favorite, but none of Ari's albums are bad. And also, I did listen to every single album over the last couple of days, so I'm accustomed to all of them. If you do enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. And without further ado, here's my music opinion. We're gonna go ranking from lowest to highest. So my lowest is going to... people are so gonna disagree with me, and I'm just prepared for the comments to be like, my fifth favorite is Sweetener. Okay, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Again, I'm not saying this is a bad album, and there's loads of good to it, so I'll start off with all the good points. Firstly, it did have the best singles. I'm sorry, No Tears Left to Cry, God Is a Woman, Breathe In as the three main singles. The Light Is Coming we'll get onto later. Believe me, those three, chef's kiss. And also the music video for God Is a Woman is my favorite music video of all time. Everything about that song, I adore. I stan so much. Also, I stan the platinum hair. Like, why didn't she just keep it for the rest of the era? The reason why I do like this album, it's just fun. Like, I definitely feel like this album is light and airy and enjoyable to listen to. It does remind me of like summer, but it also reminds me of like a 2000s girl at the moment, or like a bit of like Clueless a little bit. I feel like because a lot of it has like that very summery, to me, girly aesthetic of like a little cardigan top, like buttoned up, short sleeves, with then like a checkered mini skirt, like the sunglasses and the chunky sandals with socks, and then Cher Horror going, ugh, as if, and they're just jamming out to this in the background. That is a very particular aesthetic, I do realize. Also, I generally just think there is a lot of beauty to this. Like, for example, the last song of the album, Get Well Soon, is actually one of my favorite songs off this album. I just think it's so beautiful, and there's so much meaning, and she wrote this, just her and Pharrell wrote this thing, and it's so beautiful. Like, the song is so dreamy and airy, and it reminds me of Yours Truly, actually, this one. My opinion is that this is more of a grown-up version of Yours Truly. I'll talk about my favorites and also my least favorites. So my top three favorites from this album, before we go into negatives, are Get Well Soon, God Is a Woman, and I think No Tears Left to Cry. I love No Tears Left to Cry. I think it's such a happy song. It's really nice because I think it could just relate to anyone. However, the reasons why this isn't my favorite. Firstly, this has the most amount of skips. So I listened to all of them, and I did the rule, like, if I'm like not vibing with half of it, I will skip it. This album had 3 skips. The general production of a couple of the songs were like, but then again, I feel like that feeds into the aesthetic. So I was gonna be like, oh, like Successful. I think it's so fun, but I kind of get like after Sweetener then Successful, like it blends so much. But to be honest, like Sweetener and Successful together on tour was like the best thing on earth. See, and the other thing, like I know that Pharrell did help, but a lot of the songs that were produced by Pharrell aren't my favorite, apart from Rem and Get Well Soon. Rem is so pretty, okay? Rem. My 3 least favorites of the album are The Light Is Coming, which I think we can all universally agree just isn't that song. Then it's Sweetener, which I know a lot of people like, but to me, it's just the chorus. Like, it starts off so beautiful, and then it's like, hit it, huh? And Borderline. They're like the 3 of like my least favorites, but I think this album was very important because it allowed her to be experimental, especially because I think she was trying to show that experimentalness, and I think this album really as well. So I do think it's like essential. It's just not my particular favorite, that's all. So now number 4. This album keeps on getting higher and higher, and people are like, oh my god, this is like the underrated album. So number 4 is My Everything. Now, I forgot how good this was as an album because my original order, this was last, and then I re-listened to it, was like, this ain't last, this this is great. I do kind of get what people mean though when it's like, it's a playlist, it's not like a full album and like it's very poppy. I completely get that. I feel like a lot of Ariana's music is very R&B. I do think you get hints of it, and not even hints, you get like big elements of it. So for example, like Hands on Me, which is so good. Break Your Heart Right Back, Only One and You Don't Know Me. I love them, but I also love it because it's so fun. I think it's just like a really enjoyable album, and I also think this is like one of the first albums like Ari showed a little bit of emotion to it, and I was just like, yes, queen, with just a little bit of your heart. Just a little bit of your heart is so good. I think this album is also very important in her career. Now hear me out. I think this album like dramatically changed her to become a pop girl and to be at least seen as one. But even that, I think she grew up a lot from Yours Truly to My Everything. I remember like the jump in like the style. So, like I remember the Yours Truly era was very like pastels and kawaii stuff and bubblegum aesthetic, bows and all of that stuff, which I still appreciate and love. And this was like way more like this is where the cat is reinvented. She started wearing bodysuits. It was more of like she was a woman now. She ain't no child. If you get what I mean, I feel like that was this era. And also the other good thing about this album, this has 0 skips. Every song on this album I love to death. It's so good. My top 3 favorites, you may ask? Well, Be My Baby. Be My Baby is so underrated. Also, the other reason why I love this is because you get some EDM, and I think Ariana Grande should at least try more EDM in her music. Like, second one is probably You Don't Know Me. You Don't Know Me was actually one of the first ones I like initially loved when I first listened to this album. Like when I was young, when I was like 14. And probably, I kind of want to say One Last Time. I feel like not only for like the messaging now of it, but generally the song is so beautiful. And again, it was another one that I instantly liked. The reason why this album isn't my favorite, I think because some of it, it's like, it's very just down to the era. If you get what I mean. Like I'm not saying that old songs and they don't age like wine, but it just reminds you straight to that era. Do you get what I mean? Like it doesn't have the longevity of like her other albums. My least favorite from this album, if I had to say, probably, see, I hate saying this, but like Bang Bang. Probably like Bang Bang because again, I just think of it straight to that era. But it's so weird because especially when it was 2014, that was like the mini playlist I had and I was jamming out to. Pretty good album, like definitely check it out. At number 3 is a classic and this one just makes my heart go warm and it's Yours Truly. Firstly, the cohesion on this album, wow, I love it. It's so fun, it's so old school R&B vibes, which makes me so happy. It's like super girly. This one reminds me more of like chunky cardigans with floral skater dresses and like knee-high socks and like boots, like that kind of aesthetic with like rose prints and macaroons. Why am I making an aesthetic? Oh Jesus. You have some of the best produced and best vocal songs on here. I'm like vocally like almost as never enough. And then Baby I am still obsessed with this song, like, well, especially when listening to it, I was like, this is a fave of mine. And it's generally just such like a fun vibe. I think it's very reminiscent of the 2013 era. I love it. And I think also what I like about it is just, it's fun. This is like pure fun. And it makes my heart warm. I think because not only it's her first album, so it makes me go like, ah, but also it makes my heart warm because a lot of these songs are just like happy. It just makes you happy, and like when an album emulates that mood. So my top 3 from this album are Baby I, if you could not tell, Piano because y'all slept on that, okay, and I think Tattoo Heart. Tattoo Heart does remind me of Christmas a little bit, but it's such a lovely song. That song, to be honest, makes me want to fall in love and makes me want to feel warm and happy and So the bad points about this album, to be honest, there's one skip, and I guess because of how cohesive it is, some of it just gets like pushed to the back and like you can tell which ones are pushed forward, but that's just my opinion. Like I still think it's impeccable. So my one skip was Popular Song because A, it doesn't actually fit the album that well, and B, because it's just So going from literally her most innocent album to her most emotionally mature album, my number 2 is Thang Next. This album, wow. This was also one of the albums that as soon as I finished listening to it, I had to listen to again. She also wrote the songs, which makes me go, that's my girl! It's so good. Like, it's so mature. It's very modern. Like, it should have won a Grammy. Okay, T, the emotional maturity. The production was really good. It was cohesive enough that it would be a collective album, but not so cohesive that it just sounds like it blends. Oh, I think what's really nice about it is that I think most people can relate to it. I know that like her situation with this album was very specific, but I do think that anyone can relate to this album. Just emotionally, it gets you through it. I will also say these two are two sides of a coin. This is the after and this is during. The hurt, the healed. This is when you've been healed and you finally feel free. Like, I think especially to the end of the album where like it goes from like Imagine, and then after Ghosting and In My Head, it goes like 7 Rings and Thank You Next. So then it goes from there to then this. It connects, and I love that there's a story to it because I think it's such a beautiful story. Aesthetic wise, this is like, I just picture those like aesthetic things of like anime. You know where like that 90s editing where like everything sparkles? Like, I pictured that. I also pictured this as the grown up My Everything. That's just my opinion. Outfit wise, like, I pictured this is the kind of girl who's like modern, you know, she's a bit edgier, but she's still like, she adds fun touches. So I picture her as being like high-waisted mum jeans with like a Calvin Klein sports bra, maybe with like a cropped jacket with then a little like, I don't know why, but I picture like a Chanel bag. Like, I just picture her being bougie as fuck. I picture her with also small sunglasses and like a high up ponytail. Yes. I also picture her being with her squad. I always picture her as being like a bit of the mean girl in school, but actually being really sweet because this album's really deep, so she must be a very open person. I'm giving her own character. Comment down below if you would love to see like albums as people. That would be genius. I also love this because like, I feel like you can tell she was really involved in this. The other reason why I didn't like Sweetener as much because it didn't really sound like her. Like, some of it sounded like very much just Pharrell and not without her input. This sounds like all her. Like, I know it's like very much more R&B than pop, and I am chill with that. And also vocally, oh, like Imagine. Y'all keep on sleeping on that, but Imagine is, oh, Imagine, Ghosting, and also Bad Idea. Bad Idea is one of my favorite songs of this whole entire album, okay? I think it's very personal, and I think that's why I love it a lot, because it gives us like a warm feeling into her and how she was feeling. And even like now, I feel like she's made songs so much that like no matter what, like even if you're down, like listening to these songs, you connect with them. And I think for an artist to do that shows the versatility of being a music artist, but also shows that they're very much a human side. And I absolutely adore it. So my top 3 from this album are Imagine, I'm Sorry, but I'm still not over that, Bloodline. Oh my god, it's just the production of it is so fun, and it's straight up my street. Like, give me horns, bitch, and Bad Idea. Like, especially when it like breaks off from like the slightly 80s inspired like modern R&B, then it goes into violence. I was like, this is Ariana written all over this. Like, those 3. Ooh. The reason why this is not my number 1, firstly, listening to this album, it can be quite emotionally heavy. Can be. I'm not saying it's fully. I mean, I wouldn't be like, this is like the toughest album. Like, nothing beats Red with Long Sadness. There are songs in this album that I'm like, about. I think it's those songs which make sense in the story, but outside listening to that story, I would not listen to it. So for example, like 7 Rings, which is the only skip on this album. I said it, 7 Rings is not my favorite. Sorry to burst every single Ariana's bubble. And In My Head, but I think In My Head lyrically, I relate to so much. I'm so glad she did songs like that. But I also, there are songs which are just purely fine. Like, Break Up With Your Girlfriend on Board is such a bad bitch mood. And Makeup, I actually didn't appreciate Makeup like fully until I listened to it again. I was like, Makeup's a bop, okay? And Live, it is everything. I have so much appreciation for this album. Now, my number 1, we're still gonna do a drum roll. My number 1 is Dangerous Woman. Firstly, this is probably one of my favorite album covers of all time. I don't know why, but it's just so satisfying to look at. This album is so incredible. This came out in 2016. I still love it the same amount when I listened to it in 2016 to now. This was the other album I listened to twice. I think my main reason why I love it is vocally and production. Production wise, this is everything. She gave us diversity. She gave us variety. She showcased her vocals. She was fun. She was a little bit like, ooh. She was flirty. She was grown up. I pictured this girl. I think it's like one of those girls who just wear like lingerie as like everyday wear, but like makes it work. And it's like that kind of girl who has like bad bitch attitude and is like, yes. So I pictured her wearing like a cropped lace bustier with then like a pair of high-waisted jeans, double denim, because she's that kind of girl who kind of works there. She'd be wearing heels though. She has that bad bitch energy. This album is so good. I just think it's also like one of the perfect albums. It's It's very rare that I say this, but it's definitely my favorite because I just think there's like very little to zero flaws. It has also some of the best collabs in there, like Side to Side, bop. And also Leave Me Lonely. We love a bit of old glamour. My favorites on the album are Greedy. Greedy is my stan song. Greedy is everything. Greedy is basically me in a song, practically. She's fun, she's a little bit of a disco inspired jam, she's energetic, she's just like, I think also Touch It. I do not care. That part where she like breaks it into like, that was really badly executed, but that part, I am mind blown. But also, like, slightly off topic, if you have not listened to the Final Fantasy Touch It remix, please listen to it because your mind is about to bleed. It's so good. And my other favorite, it was very hard because I have so many, but I think another one that I really like is New Better / Forever Boy. I love that song, okay? I love it. It's so good. And it makes me so happy when she's like, you're my forever boy. There's only one skip. That's it, which is Let Me Love You. I absolutely adore this album so much. But overall, to finish, I love Ariana. I love her music, and I think all of her albums are so good, and I am so excited for AG6. Comment down below the next artist, because I think if you guys actually enjoyed it, I'm gonna do Taylor Swift next, which means I'm gonna be listening to 7 albums and just be in pure heaven. Comment down below any artists you want to see. Please like, subscribe, share. You know what to do, and I shall see you guys very, very soon. Cheers, adios, goodbye people, goodbye.